Welcome to the call. Welcome to the call, all millionaires. My name is Amma Nantwi, and I'm your host today. Thank you all so very much for calling in, and I'd like to welcome all of you to this self-esteem development training called Obsessed with Success. Just in case this is your first time calling in, let me be the first one to inform you that we do have these calls each and every Wednesday, and they are always filled with strategies and tips on self-esteem development, entrepreneurship, as well as secrets of the super wealthy. Trust me, you guys never want to miss one of these calls because they can totally change your life the way that they have mine. And it's not just me. These calls have helped out thousands of people throughout the United States. So it is with special excitement that I am pleased to introduce Mr. Haziq Ali. Mr. Ali is the most selfless person you'd ever meet. He devotes all of his time to providing service and fights the war on poverty just so everyone can win. It's because of this we affectionately call him the General. Mr. Ali is an author, a self-esteem development coach, and my personal mentor. Now let me step out of the way for Mr. Haziq Ali. Are you on the line, sir?
Yes, I am, Miss Nancy. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Take it away.
Okay. So congratulations to everybody for being here on time. I have a feeling that this is going to be one of your favorite episodes that we've ever done. It's already episode 89 of Obsessed with Success. While you're taking time out to thank the people that put you on this call, I just want to give you like some extra added, I guess we could say bonus material. I just wanted to. It's like a real weird sound in the background. I wonder, can everybody hear that? Okay, so I kind of wanted to ask you something, millionaire. How do you picture yourself? Right, this is all about self-esteem development. Every week, that's what we specialize in. Well, I want to ask you, how do you picture yourself? I mean, that's a really powerful question when you think about it. Some of you are thinking handsome or pretty. Some are thinking overweight or average. Some successful, some struggling. Some pictures are happy, some aren't. Some are way not happy. But kind of think about the picture. Was it a physical picture, tall, pretty, or a mental picture, like self-assured and confident? Was it a positive picture? You know, great attitude, successful? Or was it a negative picture, like I'm in debt, I'm broke? Did you picture the now, or did you picture what you want to become? So I'm interested about picturing yourself, right? What I found is that most people don't want to see it. Ain't nothing like a hall of mirrors, is it? Some people, and I'll go ahead and say most people, don't like it. They don't even like themselves. Suppose I told you that the more vivid the picture, the more accepting of yourself you'll be today, and the more you can see tomorrow is a fast track to success. Would that make you at least want to take a peek at it? A couple truths for you, millionaires. The picture you have of yourself combined with the self-belief that goes with it is most likely what you're about to become. Think about that. If you look at some of the books written on the subject of self-image and, visualization, you'll be surprised to find that mostly all of them say the same thing. The easiest way to get where you want to go is to picture yourself there in advance. I just now left the entrepreneur boot camp. It was featuring the lady who runs Telemundo. She has a whole network she's building where they intend on creating 5 million empowered entrepreneurs by the year 2020. Female entrepreneurs at that, right? She tells a story about how she went and painted a tile and how, there on the tile it was a little puppy. She didn't have a puppy. It was a building, name her company on it, and then she drew the building beside that she wanted to own, and the building beside that she wanted to own. Long story short, you guys already know where I'm going with this. She has it all. Like one of her friends was like, "You are a master manifester." And she's like, "I don't even remember drawing this." And it was not a seminar about visualization. You understand? This is just what the great people do. This is a clue. So we react to the image we have of ourselves in our brain. If you change that image for the better, your life improves. Self-image isn't changed for the better or worse by intellect alone, and not by knowledge alone, not by words. It's by experiencing. And here's the trick. Your brain can't tell the difference between memory and imagination. You get to experience something in the internal world, like we talked about this morning on the affirmation call, whatever you want. You don't have to wait for the external conditions to be in place. You can just experience it right now. You can just start experiencing things. You can experience joy. You can experience pain. You can experience fear. You can experience faith. You can do it right now. And that's for any aspect of your life. If you want wealth, if you want a new home, you want to become a doctor, you want to win the game, if you want to climb the mountain, if you want to run a marathon, if you want to become a great dad or mom, if you want to make that big sale, if you want to get your dream girl, first picture yourself already doing it or having achieved it. Here's the second truth for you. You are in complete control of the beliefs and pictures you put in your head. Not only are you in total control of your mind, you can also control your environment to enhance that control. Where you are can affect the way you think. Or another way to put it, environment is much stronger than willpower. You hear me? Not only are you in total control of your mind, you can control your environment. Now here's something deeper I want you to think about. If you don't like your job or your boss, it's going to be real hard for you to have a positive mental picture. And you need the positive mental picture for your achievement. You got to love what you do, or at least like it a whole lot. How are you going to visualize success in a place you don't like, or when you got a job you don't like, or you work for somebody you don't like? Truth number 3, for those of you that were on time. If you change your self-image in your mind, you'll begin to achieve mental image and then live your thoughts. There's a book called Creative Visualization, where the author, I don't even know how you pronounce the name, but it's something like Shakti Gawain. We'll go with that. We'll make this one of our books of the week. I suggest it. You guys can, if you cool, but I suggest you try it out. I know sometimes I sound like weird, all the wizard stuff. I get it, right? But trust me on this one. And one of the things she says in the book is that imagination is just the ability to create an idea, a picture, or a feeling. That's all it is. Now, in creative visualization, you get to use your imagination to create that image, idea, or feeling of something you want to manifest. Then you continue to focus on the idea, feeling, or picture, giving it positive energy until it becomes objective reality. In other words, until you actually achieve what you've been imagining. I've already told you guys about psycho-cybernetics. Some of you have already gotten it. Some of you are like, I'll get to that next week, month, next year, right? 2020, some of y'all will be inboxing me like, I got it finally, right? But I just want you to know you might want to add these to your library. If you're seeking to improve your self-image and build stronger self-belief, eliminate self-limitation, block self-defeating thoughts, just a little idea for you. And that leads us to today's subject, which is all about rejecting rejection, right? If you just now joined the call, this is Obsessive Success number 89. Now, I want you to do something different today. And from now on, you guys are going to hear me say it. Thank the person that put you on this call. Show them gratitude, because that's one of the keys to abundance. Gratitude is right up there with service in terms of expanding your life and making your life more prosperous. So we're going to call this episode Ask and Ye Wouldn't Believe. I know it's normally asking you shall receive. But I mean, you would not believe the things you can get if you just ask, if you're not scared of rejection. Write these down, millionaires. 44% of all salespeople quit trying after the first call. 24% quit after the second call. 14% quit after the third call. And 12% of salespeople quit after the fourth. So if you were to do some quick math, what you would discover is that 94% quit after the fourth call. Now here's what makes that wild, millionaire. 60% of all sales are made after the fourth call. Didn't I promise you life-changing? If this doesn't change your life, you ain't listening. Check your pulse. I just now said 94% of these salespeople don't even give themselves a chance at 60% of the prospects. In other words, audacity plus tenacity equals capacity. So here are 5 ways to ask so that you can receive. Number 1, you got to ask as if you expect to receive. You got to ask like you expect it. You got to ask like a millionaire. You got to ask yourself, how would a millionaire ask this question? How would a winner, how would the top person in a company ask this question? Does that make sense? You've got to act as if, and then you've got to ask as if. You just expect nothing different. You got to assume victory. How many times have you noticed that if you've got a coworker or a team and they're like, would you like to you don't want to try this, do you? You didn't even like that, and they're not doing some kind of psychological takeaway. They mean it. Nah, man. You got to say, that was incredible, wasn't it? You ready to go? And let's get you started changing some lives and taking names. Right? You got to assume victory. Number 2, because we got a lot to cover. Assume you can. If you're going to assume something, let's go ahead and assume that you're going to get the date. Assume you can return it without the receipt. Assume they'll give you a better table if you ask for it. As long as you're going to assume something, why not assume the best possible outcome? Number 3, this is an important one. Ask the right person. Some favorite phrases for this one might be like, who would I have to speak to such and such? Because a lot of us get shut down by people that can't even make the decision. They're just feeling themselves, and they shut you down before you even get in. And for all you know, the person in charge would have loved it. One thing about people with money, they know money when they see money. And if you're bringing value, then that equals money in some form. It could be time freedom. It could be financial freedom. But time is what? Money. Number 4, be clear and specific. Leaders always talk in specifics. You ever noticed that your mama wouldn't be like, baby, make up that bed at some point, this year, make up that bed. Nah, she was like, if that bed ain't made, when I get home, it is going down like a plane crash. Right? Think about that. You got to be clear and specific when you're asking for something. One of my mentors does this thing in one of his seminars, right? And he'll ask everybody, he'll say, who wants some more money? Right? And he'll pick a hand, and then he'll give the person $1. And he'll be like, is that enough? He'll be like, nah, I would like some more. But the point being, like, you got to be specific. Number 5, ask repeatedly. You never know what has changed in this person's life. Maybe you have a better rapport with them now. Maybe they trust you more. Maybe you've paid some dues. Maybe it's a better economy. Maybe you've proven you're committed. Maybe there are different circumstances. Maybe you're a better closer. Maybe they're in a better mood. But if you don't ask repeatedly, you'll never succeed. Now, there's so many stories about, there's so many ways I could go with this. But back in 1997, like a story I love, if you're about nature, then you'll love this. This guy named Chad Pergrack, right? He basically decided to take upon himself, to start a one-man mission to clean up the Mississippi River. That's a long mirror, y'all. That's a long river, right? He decided to go on a one-man mission to clean up the Mississippi River. Nothing but his 20-foot boat in his two hands. And this dude got to work. So eventually, after he figured out that it would take a little bit more than he had access to, he asked the government for help. They told him no. So what did he do? He hit the phone book. And he what? He asked. So he goes to Alcoa, ALCOA, right? And he asked them for the money. Why? Because they were the first ones in the phone book under A. They give him $8,400. Next he goes to Anheuser-Busch. The director of that particular department was like, he was like, will you give me some money? And she's like, for what? He explained. And then he was like, would you have a proposal? He was like, what's a proposal? Fast forward, he's now had more than 4,000 people participate. He's raised $2.5 million. He's got a board of directors. He's got lawyers. He's got accountants, corporate officers, several full-time employees, and thousands of volunteers. He's now cleaned everything from the Mississippi. He's cleaned all kinds of rivers at this point. You get what I mean? From him asking. You understand that? He's now cleaned up miles of the Illinois, the Anacostia, the Potomac, the Missouri, the Ohio, the Rock Rivers. He's removed over 1 million tons of trash from doing what? From asking. If you were to ask, you wouldn't believe the things coming your way. But I know why a lot of us don't. We all know why a lot of us don't. We don't because we fear rejection. Nobody fears sales. Listen, sales is life. You're selling yourself when you put on your clothes in the morning. Sales is life. You're selling yourself to your boss. You're selling yourself to the receptionist when you walk in. Sometimes you might not even feel that great, but you sell yourself like you do. Right? Sales is life. So it's not that people fear sales. They're doing it all day, every day. They fear rejection. But if you're going to be successful, you're going to need to learn how to deal with it. After all, it's a natural part of life. You get rejected when you aren't picked for the team. You get rejected when you don't get the part in the play. You don't get elected. You don't get into the college you wanted. You don't get the job or the promotion you wanted. You don't get the raise. You don't get the appointment. You don't get the date. You don't get the permission you requested, right? You get rejected when your manuscript is rejected or your proposal is turned down. Your new idea is passed over. They might even crack jokes about your idea. Rejection, right? Your fundraising request is ignored. Your design concept isn't accepted. Your application for membership is denied. You ask somebody to marry you and they decided to pass on the offer, right? Let me tell you something. Rejection is nothing but a lie. Rejection does not exist. That's what write that down on your paper. It's all your imagination. Rejection is really nothing more than staying where you are already. Think about it. You ask Michelle to have dinner with you. She says no. You didn't have anybody to eat dinner with before you asked her, and now you still don't have nobody to eat dinner with. Nothing got worse. It stayed the same. It only gets worse if you do that internal thing we talked about this morning on the affirmation call, right? It only gets worse if you decide to do that internal thing and start attributing pain to that simple word. What if I told you that a lot of times when you don't get what you want, It's not rejection, it's redirection. What if I told you that sometimes God does a huge favor to us, keeping us from things that we thought we wanted? What if you decide to have faith in the unseen? What if you decide to realize that for the man with goals, everything helps? For the woman with goals, everything helps. For the man and woman without them, nothing helps. What if I told you rejection a lot of times is just redirection? My point is this. Your life didn't get worse. It stayed the same. You haven't really lost anything. And think about this. You've spent your whole life not going to Harvard. You know how to handle it already. The truth is, millionaires, you never have anything to lose by asking. And because there's something to possibly gain, by all means, ask. Write this down. SW, 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 SW. Whenever you ask anybody for anything, this is a small little acronym for you that you never forget. SW times 4 stands for some will, some won't, so what? Somebody's waiting. Some are going to say yes, some are going to say no, but so what? Because this is nothing but a numbers game. You got to keep asking until you get a yes. Remember this, millionaires. What you want wants you. You just got to hang in there long enough for help to come. Help is coming, baby. Because all this is just molecules. If you're putting the thought out there, just like oil will find itself, just like water will find itself, your thought is going to find the corresponding reality. It has to happen that way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. So just get used to the idea that there's going to be a lot of rejection along the way. The secret of success, a huge secret of success, is to not give up, y'all. When somebody says no, you just say next. Colonel Sanders, right? I got a feeling we got some people on the phone that like chicken, right? No shots. When he left home with his pressure cooker and his special recipe, he received over 300 rejections for this southern fried chicken he had come up with. 300 rejections before he found somebody to believe. And because he rejected the rejection over 300 times, there are now 11,000 KFC restaurants in 80 countries around the world. If somebody tells you no, ask somebody else. If somebody tells you no, find a way to do it yourself. But you got to remember this. There are close to 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody, somewhere, sometime will say yes. Don't get stuck in your fear or your resentment. Just move on. It's a numbers game. Somebody's waiting to say yes to you, and that's a promise. On the Periscope, after this call, I'm going to give you 5 ways to, like, literally deal with rejection, you know, but I'm going to save that for the Periscope. So, you know, download Periscope now. I'm at Haziq. One of my mentors, he wrote a book that maybe you heard of called Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? Mark Victor Hansen. When they first flew to New York with their agent, they met with every publisher that would grant them a meeting. And all of them said they weren't interested. They were like, collections of short stories just don't sell. Sorry, fellas. There's no edge to the stories. The title will never work. After they got rejected by a whole another 20 publishers, they decided that they were going to start thinking outside the box. So then they started doing these seminars. And what they would do after the seminars is they printed up a form that was basically a promise to buy the book after it was published. Everybody could write their name, their address, and the number of books they pledged to buy. Over a period of months, they asked everybody that attended their seminars until they had 20,000 book promises. So the following spring, they go to this thing called the ABA, the American Booksellers Association, right? It's usually out in California. They walk from booth to booth with all the signed forms, and they would turn down again and again and again and again. And again and again and again and again, they said next. At the end of a second, very long day, they gave a copy of the first 30 stories in the book to the co-presidents of this struggling publisher, which specialized in addiction and recovery books. Like, who knew, right? That's the guy that decided to give him a chance. After over 130 rejections, that book went on to sell 8 million copies. I mean, the book has been translated into over 40 languages. And all those pledge forms, they stapled an announcement to them and sent them to the person at the address on the form each time, got the check in the mail. Almost everybody who promised to buy a book came through on his or her commitment. In fact, one entrepreneur in Canada bought 1,700 copies. That's the kind of action I want to see from the millionaires that can hear my voice when I release my book. Somebody will buy 1,700 copies, I'm sure of it. But here's my point, though. Rejection, a lot of times, is just redirection. There's somebody waiting on you. And God's not going to let your idea fall in the wrong hands. Can I take it to hip-hop for a minute? Because that's my background. Some of you guys know, some of you guys don't. Me and my friends were talking about Jay-Z and Nas, right? Nas was just the prodigal son. Jay-Z is just this, he's just winning in every sense of the word. You know, most businesses, you know, best wife, right? Best life. You know, the guy goes to Cuba on his anniversary, right? Like, who can get into Cuba? Well, now they're loosening everything up. But you get what I mean? You found out they were loosening everything up because he's there with a cigar in his mouth. I digress. When he first came into the industry, if you were to put them on a split screen, over here is Nas, the golden child. All the best producers, all the best music, completely just, everyone's enamored by this guy. On the other side of the split screen is Jay-Z, going to record label after record label after record label, like, nah, I'll pass, I'm straight, no, I'm good. Fast forward a few years later, and Jay-Z is at the top of his game. Why? Because that rejection was actually redirection. They forced him to start his own label. And he tells you in this iconic interview with him and Warren Buffett that the genius thing that we did was that we didn't give up. Look at what happened to Nas, on the other hand. Because he was surrounded by so many yes men, the man was notorious for picking horrible music. He couldn't pick a single because everybody around him ostensibly would be like, oh, yeah, go, man, yeah, I love it, yes. Because he was built and weakened by mass acceptance. Jay-Z was built and strengthened by what the most call rejection. But I'm telling you, it's redirection. You're being strengthened. If you would just get it into your DNA, that resistance just makes you stronger. You are most of the way there. You hear me? I want you to think about this. If you will just look at it like rejection, is somebody blowing a trumpet in your ear to wake you up and get you going instead of telling you to retreat. If you will begin to take that internal experience, this morning for those that weren't on the affirmation call, all we talked about was that, well, it's not all we talked about, but a big thing that we talked about this morning was that you're always living in tandem. You're always living in two different universes at the same time. You're living in the external world, and then you're living in the internal world. It is so easy to confuse the two. It is so easy for one to discombobulate the other. Listen, the only reason that people's fear gets to them is that they're putting too much stock in something that's just a mental construct. I said it before, I'll say it again. From one of my, favorite mentors, this billionaire that a bunch of you haven't heard of, named Mike Roberts. I just did an interview with him on Sirius XM radio, right? Where they interviewed me, they interviewed him, and it was just an incredible interview. He said something that'll stick with me forevermore. He was like, Fear is not the grass growing, and it's not the wind blowing. Fear is a mental construct. Well, listen, if you would decide to take some of these mental constructs and use them as coaches instead of cripplers, right? If you would decide to use them as counselors and confidants as opposed to handicaps, your whole life will be different, and I mean overnight. I'm going to give you guys some famous rejections, right? You know, aside from Jay-Z and Nas or Colonel Sanders. Write some of these down. Google their stories so that whenever you're feeling bad, because I promise you some life-changing things to do. One of the things that will change your life is if you figure out more people that you love, if you figure out more heroes that you admire, and then you begin to study their story. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to their highlight reel. Alexander Graham Bell, right? He only invented the telephone. So he offered the rights for $100,000 to Carl Orton, president of Western Union. And then Orton says to him, well, what would we do with your electrical toy? He called the phone an electrical toy. Angie Everhart. She started modeling at the age of 16. She was once told by the owner of the Ford agency, Eileen Ford, that she'd never make it as a model. Why not? Because redheads don't sell. Of course, she later became the first redhead in history to be on the cover of Glamour. Something like 27 films later, Angie Everhart. Now, unfortunately, of Bill Cosby fame. But I digress. Novelist Stephen King. He almost made a multi-million-dollar mistake when he threw the manuscript for Carrie right in the trash. Just because he was tired of the what? Rejection. We're not interested in science fiction which deals with negative utopias. That's the quote. They don't sell. Lucky for him, his wife fished it out the garbage. You gotta love having strong women around you. So, eventually Carrie was printed by another publisher. The rest is history. More than 4 million copies sold, blockbuster film. How about Google? In 1998, Sergey and Larry approached Yahoo and suggested a merger. Yahoo could have snapped up Google for just a handful of stock, but instead they suggested the young Googlers keep working on their little school project and come back when they'd grown up. Well, within 5 years, Google had an estimated market cap of $20 billion with a B. And of course, their IPO went under raise. It was one of the most successful IPOs in history. The Guinness Book World record holder for this, though, is a guy named John Creasy. He's like a British mystery writer. I'm into British films, and you know, even one of my favorite shows back when I used to watch TV was this show called The Office, right? And but my point is that this guy's like a real big British, you know, mystery writer. Well, he would collect the rejection slips. He would collect them. He collected 743 rejection slips before he sold his first book. He's literally impervious to rejection. You should also Google people like Howard Schultz. You should Google the story of Starbucks, right? But back to Creasy, he went on to publish 562 full-length books under 28 different names after 743 rejections. What is my point? My point is simply, if all of these guys can handle rejection, so can you. A lot of times, it's just you learning how to use the feedback. So what I wanted to do was give you 3 ways of handling feedback that don't work. You know, like this is how not to handle the feedback that may come along with the rejection. Because there's lots of ways to handle it, but I suggest you kind of like we normally go with what to do. These are 3 ways to not do. 1, caving in and quitting. caving in and quitting. How many times has you or somebody you know received some negative feedback and simply just caved in? Like a little muffin. All right? Is that what you is? You a muffin? Nah, man. You got to realize the feedback is just information. Think of it as correctional guidance instead of criticism. Think of it like the automatic pilot on a plane. It's constantly telling the plane, you're too high, too low, too far to the right, too far to the left. The plane just keeps on correcting in response to the feedback. It doesn't all of a sudden freak out and break down because of the relentless flow of this feedback. Stop taking it so personal. Stop being a little muffin. It's just information designed to help you get there faster. Good grief. It's a good thing. Number 2 way to not accept rejection, to not accept this feedback, is getting mad at the source. Now, a lot of this is easier said than done. I totally get it. Because I'm not the one to be telling y'all to do something I never do. Do I sometimes get mad at some moron? Because I know what's best for them, right? Of course. But you got to remember, if you're reacting with anger and hostility towards somebody who's giving you feedback that was genuinely useful, even if they didn't mean to be useful, how do you think that's going to encourage the universe to give you more of it so you can finally learn? Don't get mad, get glad. Because when you get upset, all it does is push the person and the feedback away. And then number 3, worst thing you can do is ignore the feedback. Ignore the rejection. Don't ignore the feedback. See the rejection as redirection, or see the no as not yet, but don't ignore the feedback. We all know people who tune out everybody's point of view but their own. They're not interested in what nobody else thinks. They don't want to hear what anybody else has to say. But this is the cold part. That feedback could be exactly what would transform their lives if only they would listen. So in Periscope, we're going to go over some 5 quick ways to deal with rejection that I think you guys are going to love. We got about 8 minutes for some, we probably won't take 8 minutes. But does anybody have any questions or feedback about episode number 89? If you do, then push *6 and you can unmute your line, I think. Okay, so now you can push *6 and unmute yourself. Does anybody have any questions? If you aren't already on Periscope, then make sure you download Periscope right now and then go to @Haziq. My name is spelled Haziq, @Haziq, and you can follow me on Periscope so that you can get the goodies after this broadcast. Does anybody have any questions?
Hey, Haziq, this is T. What was the book of the week? Can you repeat the title and the author, please?
Sure, it's called Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain, SHAKWTI, GAWAIN.
Okay, thank you.
And there's also Psycho-Cybernetics from Maxwell Maltz, MALTZ. Does anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Haziq.
Y'all say it was that good. Nobody got no questions. Was that clear, huh?
It was pretty clear, though.
Thank you. What is your name and where are you from, and then what is your feedback or question? Okay, also make sure that you join Dear Millionaire. If nobody has any questions, we won't force it. But Dear Millionaire is how you make sure you never miss these text message @millmind to the number 81010. Again, that's the @ symbol, and then MILLMIND to the number 81010. And this was episode number 89. If nobody else has any questions or feedback.
I do. I'm Johnny from Atlanta.
Man, y'all better stop playing. I'll be about to hang up. Okay, yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't notice my phone was on mute. I'm just trying to get that second book that you said,
You said the creative visualization, but the second one I didn't get.
Okay, Psycho-Cybernetics by a guy named Maxwell Maltz. Maxwellmaltz. Maxwell Maltz. He's a famous plastic surgeon. He's like the first plastic surgeon in America, pretty much. And he discovered something really interesting. He would fix somebody's face, and they wouldn't even be able to see the difference when they looked in the mirror. That's when he discovered. Yes, that's when he discovered that most of it is in our mind. Our self-image has a lot to do with how we see ourselves, and it has nothing to do with physical appearance. So it's an amazing book. Okay, yes, ma'am, we can hear you. What's your name and where are you from, and what's your question or feedback?
This is Amma from Brooklyn. And my question is, do you have like a morning routine that gets, because I know Tony Robbins talked about sleep. Is it something that you would get in a certain state every day? Besides the morning affirmation calls every day, but besides that, on a personal level, you get in a certain state of mind to conquer the day.
Well, the affirmations are a big part of it, honestly. It's like the affirmations are guaranteed to put you in a certain state. When you're right there with a bunch of your friends and family, and everybody's like yelling into the heavens, we're all adjusting our images and self-ideals together, that'll put you in a proper state. I mean, it's guaranteed. Other than that, the whole thing is to, like, visualize how you're saying it. You know, we're going to be putting up exactly, it's sort of like a cheat sheet to go with the affirmation so that everybody has the proper images in their mind when they're kind of going through everything. And we'll give you, like, little secret things to visualize while you're doing it. But the point is, never miss the affirmation calls. Like, that's what they're there for, to make it so you can start with a spark. Plenty of people, if you were to just hashtag affirmation nation or I deserve to be rich or I add value to others, you'd hear it from your friends and family. But there are plenty of people out there that use those calls to change their state of mind in the morning.
How you doing, Haziq? This is Janice from D.C.
Did that help?
So my next question, following that, okay, getting to state is one thing. Now, staying in state, as far as throughout the day, is that
you're breaking up really bad, man. You're breaking up really bad. I can barely hear you.
Hello? Can you hear me now? Hear me now?
I'll try. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so getting into state is one thing, but what's your idea of staying in state? What do you think? Do you think that's focusing on certain thoughts? Is that visualized throughout the day? What do you think?
You said, okay, so if I heard you correctly, you said starting in state is one thing, but staying in state is another thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so because we're living creatures, we're constantly moving. So staying in just one particular, see, our state index is constantly moving. At one point, you're going to have more energy than you have at other points. At one point, you're going to feel, I mean, you can watch the same movie over and over again, and eventually the jokes aren't going to be as funny. We're just constantly moving. We're constantly adapting. Once we can begin predicting whatever it is, it doesn't surprise us as much. Now, there's some cheap things that you can do to sort of like ramp yourself up. There's some little hacks you can use. Like, for instance, you can go ahead and work out more. If you work out, it's pretty hard to feel depressed when you've got all these endorphins rushing through your bloodstream from the workout. So that can get you in a certain state. You know, sometimes there are certain things you can do with your body language that will put you in a certain state. Like if you stand in a mirror and do kind of like what they call that Superman pose or that Wonder Woman pose, everybody pictures it in their head right now as I'm saying it, that will change your state of emotions. That will change your confidence level. It's been proven. I mean, even a blind man, if a blind man crosses the finish line, then immediately, and they've never seen anybody do this in their life, I mean, they're blind, hello, and they will still immediately cross that finish line and throw their arms up in celebration. Well, that's because when you do certain things with your body, when you do certain things, your natural instincts kick in. A lot of times, physiological affects the emotional. And we got to just remember that. And if you can remember that your physical is connected to your mental and your mental is connected to your physical, it's not just one affects the other. They both affect each other. Then that'll be a big clue for you. Does that help?
Absolutely. Thank you.
No problem, man. If you haven't downloaded Periscope yet, then make sure you do, and then follow me at Haziq. We're going to do the Periscope broadcast at about 6:30. Yeah, we'll do it at 6:30.
Eastern time?
I got one more question.
Okay.
Hello? I have one more question. I just wanted to know, last week someone asked about the Periscope. They asked about the Periscope. They had asked if you can't download Periscope on your phone, and you said that there was some way that we would still be able to see it, but only within 24 hours. What do we have to do to go see that?
Okay, somebody will share it on their page. Are you somebody who joins us on the affirmation calls in the morning?
Yes, I'm Jazzy from Atlanta.
Okay. So did you share it and use I deserve to be rich and I add value to others?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so if you search that hashtag, you'll find all kinds of people that are also be sharing the Periscope broadcast when it goes up. I forget how you do it. I think you swipe to the right or you swipe up. Somebody will do it on the Periscope, and then they'll begin sharing. So if you search through those different hashtags, you got 24 hours to find it. Somebody will post it.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right, no problem. Glad to hear you, Chazzy. All right, does anybody else have anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Make sure you text message. Okay, yeah, let me just tell them this one more time. If you haven't joined Dear Millionaire yet, real quick, easy way to do it. Dear Millionaire is the world's first text service for personal growth and self-development. All it does is send you quotes and videos and reminders about the affirmation calls and the self-esteem development training. And all you have to do to join it is send a real special text message to 81010. All you do is send @millmind to 81010. And if you hit me up on Instagram, I'll give you the info if you can't remember. My Instagram is @Haziq Ali. Okay, yes, sir. By the way, my name has a Q in it, not a G. My name is not Hazig. It's Haziqali. All right, yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Seth from DC. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Great. Hey, the affirmation. I'm new to the group and everything. The affirmation calls us in the morning. How do I access that? Is there a number in the login?
Well, yeah, actually, it'll come to you in Dear Millionaire, and then all you have to do is literally push the link when it shows up, and then it'll connect you with the call. But it's really the same exact number, but you just do it in the morning. So if you want, I'll give you how to join Dear Millionaire, and then you'll get reminders about the call, right before it happens at 7:25 a.m.
Yeah, it was Dear Millionaire. What is that?
Dear Millionaire is the world's first text message service for personal growth and self-development. So it's basically a whole bunch of stuff that comes to you to keep you millionaire-minded as opposed to poverty-minded and scarcity-minded like the world tries to train us to be. So you get all types of videos and audio books and quotes. Whoever puts you on this call will tell you all about it. It's a pretty cool thing, but here's how you join. Send a text message to 81010. This is free of charge, by the way. Everybody can hear my voice. This is free of charge. All you do is text message @millmind, that's the @ symbol, and then MILLMIND to the number 81010. Again, that's @millmind to the number 81010. Yes, sir.
Hey, Haziq.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
All right, hey, it's Kyle Walton. I wanted to ask, because I've been trying to do this for so long. I've gotten so many people on the call, I can't really give you an exact number. But how do you download the Periscope videos? Like, how do you download them?
To this point, well, there is actually a way to download the Periscope videos, but have you joined Periscope?
Yes, I have you locked in.
Okay, but in terms of saving the videos, I think that's part of the novelty of it all. I don't think that there's a way that they allow you to save it. Now, technology will find a way, So there's all kinds of ways to download the videos and stuff like that and just save them to your phone if you were just to Google that or study one of these guys that's made themselves an expert in that space, and they'll tell you how to do it. But in terms of just using Periscope the way the inventors intended it to be used, the videos are only up for 24 hours.
Okay, that's why I've been trying to figure out how to download, because I want to get some of your videos so I can, watch them repeatedly and get it in my subconscious mind.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I'm humbled by that. Thank you very much. And that means a lot to me that you would look at it as that valuable. And if you go to Millionaire Minded TV and subscribe there, I'm going to be uploading more and more videos as we get closer to the book launch. So if you go to Millionaire Minded TV on YouTube, you can get a bunch of my stuff from there. And I'll be, definitely stepping up the production in that area.
Oh, wow, thanks. I didn't realize we had that. And I'm also waiting on your book release as well, but I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. 1,700 copies to the man waiting on the book.
Okay.
All right, does anybody else have a question before we get out of here, or any feedback before we get out of here?
Yes, Haziq, this is PJ from Houston.
Okay, how you doing, Houston, in the house?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to say this one thing. There is a website called catch.me that a lot of Periscope users are using to lock their videos for more than 24 hours. I'm not sure if you know about it or not.
Oh, okay, see, I knew there was something. I've got so much going on that I haven't had a chance to really skip it. Hey, there you go.
Okay.
Love will find a way.
Yeah, they are doing that, and you can go back and watch the videos longer than 24 hours, but it's something that the Periscope subscriber, you would have to sign up for catch.me for us to see, or to be able to search catch.me and find your video. Just FYI. Okay?
Okay. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that.
And it's catch with a K, not a C, okay?
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
See? You got to love the millionaire-minded family. I love it. Thank you so much for that, Houston. Okay. So we're going to call it a wrap. This is episode number 89. Make sure you check us out on Periscope. At Haziq is my Periscope, at Haziq. And I will see you guys in a few minutes. All right, love you all. And remember, either your mind expands to match your goals, or your goals are going to shrink to match your mind. Let's grow.